I am grounded in truth's love, connected to the inner goodness that reflects the virtue and essence of my humanity. We are one from the beginning into this now and to the end. I am not only the good of life or the beauty of our souls, but together we are the torrent river onward. In relationship with time and space, in all things, for the moment is all things. All that we do and all that we are is spiritual and not a destination. You are the charge between my atoms, binding the eternal silence that ignites the inherent spark of Yah's grace. In this bittersweet embrace of a woman's cry, the pain propels me forward on the path, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful of life's experiences. I am rooted in every little step as a reminder that I am because we are. Thanks.
Gratitude to you, my brother Rawle.
Gratitude.
So, everybody, we're trying something different today to wrap up 2021 with Rawle James like we wrapped up last year. We kicked it off with a great poem from him, because you all are. So if anybody doesn't know, I'm Gene, the coach, and this is Pealed Back's LiveCast Conversations With, and this is episode 71 to wrap up the year that is 2021. Our guest today is Rawle James, human, poet, personal, and spiritual leader. Rawle is a student of life, and thus life is his greatest teacher. He's a spiritual coach, poet, and author. He is committed to working with individuals seeking to move forward with vitality and a positive sense of self. He can guide individuals through chaos of their minds to unlock the vault of wisdom that is their past. And from that, we jump right into it with Rawle.
How you doing, Brother Gene?
I'm doing very well. I'm so grateful to be able to wrap up this year again like we did last year. Rawle, I can't even remember what episode that was. It feels like a year ago since we had that conversation, and it is still one of the longest episodes we've had on the show. So who knows where this is going to go? This time we were prepared. We put aside 2 hours just in case.
Wow, okay.
We probably will just get you warmed up by the time we get into 2 hours.
I don't know if that's a compliment or a dig, so I'll take
That's a compliment, brother. That's a compliment.
For those of you at home that can't tell the difference, because we're wearing the same shirt, it's kind of hard to distinguish which one is being Rawle. So I'm sure by now you'll hopefully figure it out.
It is like looking in a mirror sometimes.
It is like looking in a mirror. But yeah, it's been a year. I think it's been a year to the day, isn't it?
Pretty much, I think, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. So
the last Wednesday of every year.
That's
when we bring Rawle on.
So it's been an interesting year. Lots has happened in that year. So
it's been a pretty quiet year, hasn't it?
Well, if you call an ongoing pandemic quiet, and all the other madness that's going on, and the uncertainty and possible shortages of this and that and blah blah blah. Yeah, it's been quiet.
Yeah. Well, let's maybe dig into what's been quiet in your year.
Well, I guess the biggest quietness is I've moved. I left Kelowna, back in Toronto. it's coming up on 3 months. Speaking of time crawling. Yeah, it's been 3 months since I left Kelowna and came back. I came back mainly because of family, particularly in light of the madness that's going on in the world right now. And I just thought it was time to come home and make sure my peeps are good. Have 2 kids here, and then my mom and my sister and her kids. So yeah, so I decided it was time. It was time to leave Kelowna in the hands of people like yourself. Not like Kelowna was in my hands, but yeah, I spent 17 years there, and it was a great 17 years. No regrets whatsoever. I don't tend to do regrets anyway. I really enjoyed my time, and it's a place that I definitely I call home. So, and yeah, so here I am in the big bad city again. It feels like I've come full circle.
What is she teaching you now that you're back?
Well, right now I'm in this state of gratitude. I'm grateful to be around my sister. My sister and I haven't been around each other like this in a long time, and seeing my mom and my 2 young ones, and I haven't really ventured out into the city much. Don't feel the need to, and then with all the craziness that's going on, I'm not vaccinated, so I don't feel like going out and having people tell me this and that, and because I really don't care. I when I was in Kelowna, I was out a lot, but usually in coffee shops. It's not like I ate out a lot and went to the gym and all that stuff. I don't care about that nonsense. To me, there are bigger fish to fry around this that I don't want to get into right now. So my focus has been family and myself. And, I came here because of family, but I also believe there's other reasons that haven't been unveiled yet. And that's starting to happen. Since I've been back, I've been writing a lot. Like, I have not written like this in a long time. So there's a lot of good poems coming out. My writing feels different. I feel different. I've connected with the beauty of technology to various poetry communities. I've connected to some really cool poets around the world. That just blows my mind. And just today, I got asked to be a feature in one of the groups that I've connected with. Actually, just only connected with them like 2 days ago. So, yeah, so I've been really in that poetic vibe, feeling like a poet / philosopher, whatever that means. So,
and it sounds like it's just kind of flowing out of you right now. There's no obstructions. You're not being the filter. You're being more the conduit.
Yeah, I think part of it is time for me to embrace that. Like, when I said, I feel like I've gone full circle. In our Friday gatherings of the Open Forum, one of your guests introduced us to the hero's journey. And if you really understand the hero's journey, it starts off unwantingly, and then you go through the trials and tribulations of life, and then you kind of go back full circle with everything that you've learned. And that's kind of what I feel like. I feel like I've, I started my spiritual quest here in Toronto, moved to Kelowna 17 years, really started to understand purpose and what it is that I was to do or still to do, and learned a lot about myself, and not just people, but a lot about myself and the kind of strength and power that I have within, and thoughts and all these things. And now I've come full circle, and it feels like I'm gearing up for the next adventure. So will I have the courage to step forward on that next adventure? Time will tell. I have my fears like everyone else, but one thing I have learned from my time in Kelowna, I don't let those fears stop me. I've learned to embrace them. I learned that when they show up to just actually show me how powerful I am, not how weak I am. So I embrace them when they show up.
There's a place to unpack a little bit. I was going to ask you what fear meant to you, but you answer it like the question was put out, and like, I got this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not the first time, I talk a lot about worthiness, and I still have my worthiness issues. I mean, Gene, I'm not, I didn't go to school, university. I didn't go to take creative writing and learn poetry. I still don't really understand, some of the mechanics and the methods of poetry. But yet these things come and I write. And, yesterday I was in this group of literary giants, people that have hung out with some of the literary greats. There was a person in the group that was a good friend of Toni Morrison, great author, Black American author, and the stuff that they know. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell am I doing here? That little voice in my head. And then they opened up and started to recite. And then a friend of mine that I just met, new poet from Greece, she's just this brilliant visual poet that mixes graphic arts and poetry and music. The collaboration was just, it blew my mind. And then they had the open mic continued, and then I got to recite. And I think I recited 2 or 3 pieces, and the comments alone. And then from that yesterday or 2 days ago that happened, I got invited to another open mic, and this is all on Zoom. Last night, and got to recite again. And then this morning I woke up to a message from the leader of one of these groups asking if they could feature me.
Wow.
So I was just like, sitting there reading this, shaking my head. So I still have my moments. I just don't let them stop me. And when I have those moments, those doubts, I welcome them. I don't fight them. Because I think I understand what they're there. They're there to remind me that you do have gifts and abilities, and others do see it. And, it's okay to sometimes doubt yourself, but are you going to let it stop you? And I have way too much experience of things that I've done where I've had it and I don't let it stop me. So I even embrace it differently now. When they show up, they're like old friends, like I haven't seen in a while or heard in a while. So it's like, what's up, man? Let's do it. Let's move it out. Let's go grab a pint and talk and realize you're full of shit.
Well, they're the ones that can come up to you and be like, really? You're full of shit. Like,
yeah.
If you think about like on the context of fear, and like I use the word saboteur a lot, but they're very same shit, different label.
Yeah,
it's like, what a great definition of a friend. Like, to me, like a great, powerful friend is somebody that'd be like, I love you, and you are so full of shit right now.
Yes.
If you do not have people in your life that are willing to tell you you're full of shit, and you to go, well, maybe, fuck you, but maybe, and like that, those are the friends that are powerful. I think so. What a great reframe on fear as the friends that you can go sit down, have a pint. They're almost like the toll keepers. Like, you're at your edge, come have a conversation, because we're going to tell you what you need to hear if you're listening.
And especially if you say you love yourself, or like in your own circle, if you got friends that say they love you. I remember many, many moons ago when Cher and I had Harris, and Harris, anyway, when we had Harris, I would say we were pregnant and we gained weight. I had ballooned up to like probably almost 300 pounds. And I was so in it, and with Harris, I didn't even think about it and realize it. And as after Harris was born, I realized, holy jeez, I packed on some serious weight. Not one of my friends said a damn word. I'm like, dude, like my best friend Chris, I go, I thought you loved me. He goes, well, what was I supposed to say? I said, you got fat, dude. So, I mean, I get it. Nobody wants to hurt anyone's feelings, but I think, in all seriousness, when you say you love someone, love is not just one-sided. Love is saying, hey, I love you enough to let you know this is what I see. And, it's up to you how you position it and how you say it. But I think you need to say it. And, don't say you love someone and then you see them doing something that you think might be detrimental based on how you understand them and how they want to live life. And then you say nothing. Because to me, it's not so much about not saying something. That speaks more about you. And why were you afraid to say something to this person that you love, whether it's your spouse or your best friend? right? And I think part of it is, we're all raised thinking, love is kind, and the Caribbean verse from the Bible, love isn't envy and blah blah blah. And to me, that's nonsense, because love is messy as well.
Yeah,
it has to be. It's how you learn and how you grow. So,
well, you think about it like from that aspect of it, like where the imagery that brings up when you talk about it is like love is the energy, right? And it's your choice on how you deliver that. It's
mhm.
the vehicle. Like you can attach kindness to it, but that kindness can also be like, hey, Rawle, kind of packing on the pounds. I love you and I want you to stay around for a while. What
Exactly.
the fuck? Do we need to go for walks, bud? Like, we'll do it.
Yeah,
Right. But like,
it's true.
and that
It's
can
true.
still be delivered in with love as the vehicle
Yeah.
for it. And sometimes love is needed to deliver. We'll say some people may say tough conversations or tough messages, but I think they're more quality messages, right? Like it goes back to like, do you have the quality of that love to be able to deliver what's needed to be delivered?
Yeah. And I think so many people have a hard time, and it's not just in these times we're living. They've always had a hard time delivering the tough message. I used to struggle with that early in my corporate days, having to, tell people the tough message. So I could give them the tough things, whether it went from recruiting or managing people, if you had to fire someone. But I eventually learned it's not me. I'm facilitating whatever that person needs and wants based on the agreement that we had constructed. And I think it's the same thing. And I think, the first love is that of self, and my job is to love me at constant, not sometimes. Well, today I don't know if no. My job is to love me constant, and part of loving myself is honoring my boundaries and the guidelines that I choose to live life by. And if honesty and truth is one of those, then that's what you're going to get. And especially in today's world, we're afraid to speak. We're afraid to say, because I don't know. We just gotten oversensitive. We don't have tough skin anymore. And it's not like I look to beat people up, but I do believe it's important to tell them what they need to hear. Just like I have my friend call me on my shit.
Yeah.
Right? Call me on mine, because we're all just trying to do the best we can in this life. And that's what I believe. Everyone's doing the best they know how. And this is why I started the cast with that poem, because that poem is really about it's based on a Ubuntu, an African philosophy of Ubuntu. I am because you are. That means we're in this together, and I can't be without you. So if we're in this together, I think it's important that we learn how to speak to each other and be honest and be able to tell each other the tough messages when it's required.
Yeah. Well, from a couple episodes ago on this show, Lisa Hartman proposed the idea of like reshifting the conversation around, is it a tough message or is it a quality message?
I like that. Yeah.
Right. And that is just stuck with me. I kind of dropped it in here, but it's just one of those like things that aha going.
Yeah.
Just because the reaction or the experience of it may be tough, but it's that quality component of it is like, if we do this, the quality of our relationship can go up, the quality of life can go up, the quality of whatever, it could be from business, could be performance, it could be any of the wheel of life spokes, but it's about bringing that quality up. And are you willing to be a person that has quality conversations? Doesn't mean that you have to be the jerk about it, but like that also means that you're taking this willingness to like pay the toll to get past the fear to go, I know on the other side of this conversation is a quality outcome.
And that, listening to you, and I like the word. I like when you first said it, quality versus tough. And I still like tough. It's like when I'm engaging a new client, I'll tell them straight up, are you ready to be brutally honest with yourself? And they go, why brutal? I said, you'll find out. Because a lot of times we want to find ways to sugarcoat things. We want to find ways to lessen the blow. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the best way is brutal honesty, but with yourself. And we've gotten, we're always trying to sugarcoat things, and I think that's a dangerous thing. Like I said, I believe in telling those that you love what needs to be said, and I try to do it in a way that's not going to injure or make them feel belittled, right? And that's my responsibility, because we're in this together. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to tell you what you need to hear. And it's like in a poem that I wrote, when a friend of mine asked me once, she goes, "Are you tired?" And I automatically got triggered. And it's like, "Well, what are you saying? I look bad, blah, blah, blah." That was the thing in my head. And I'm like, "No." And I remember thinking, why the hell are you getting triggered? You are tired. It wasn't so much physical, but it was more. But that interaction led to a poem. But the point was, when we hear things from people, do we ever stop and go, is there truth in what they're saying? Particularly someone we may not even like. And they say things and we get triggered, and no one ever, very rarely it seems like we stop and go, whoa, is there truth in what that person is saying? Because if there's truth in it, why am I getting triggered?
It's that protective layer of it.
And if there's no truth in it, why am I getting triggered?
There's a space right there. There, as Neil Pretty would say, there's the there. It's like there's the there,
there's
right?
The mustache guy.
So why? That's an interesting concept around, like, if there's truth to it, what's really coming up in that put some, in case no one's heard of it before, here's the little pillow. It's like everything is about a reaction space to that and a response. So you're having that reaction,
7 habits,
taking the moment to have the space to choose what that response is going to be, and within that space is that power. So somebody says something to you, they may be close, you may consider them not close, and you get this reaction. That reaction, I believe, is a component of a protectiveness. At some point, that reaction or the experience of that reaction protected you from something. Now, is this still doing its job? And is that job serving? Where you could look into that and go, he might be an asshole, but there's also some rightness to what he just said, or some truth. I'll pull the rightness out, some truth to it. It doesn't need to be all truth. Is there pieces of truth that you can take and go, that perspective is showing me something?
Well, you just, what you just said, being a 7 habits facilitator, I just heard the first habit of being proactive. And that's what that is. When life throws an experience, situations at you, a stimuli, you are then required to either react or respond. Mm-hmm. And react means you just emotionally give into the situation and respond from an emotional standpoint, strictly emotional. Where responding says, taking a step back and going, what is this situation truly asking of me? Based on habit 2, how do I want to live life? What vision do I hold in regards to how do I want to live life? What's most important? What matters most to me, which is, I think, habit 3. And you can infuse all the habits into one moment. Seek first to understand, then be understood. What is this person truly trying to say? But a lot of times when people say things, it's an internal check. Because the only thing you have control over is how you react or respond. And those things come out through your words. So all you have is your word, which when you dig deeper, ties into your feelings, your emotions, your reason, your logic, all things. So when a situation happens, it's asking you, do you want to just respond from an emotional standpoint? Or do you want to respond from a standpoint that includes emotions? Because I don't want to make it sound like emotions are bad or feelings are bad. But along with the emotions, are you using your reason, your logic? Are you taking the time to step into your vault of wisdom, which is your past? Because more than likely you've had this experience before. And can you decide what do you want? This is the cause. Now, what's going to be the effect? What effect do you want? And that takes the internal work. And it sounds like a lot what I just explained. Oh, I can't do that in a moment. Yes, you can, because if it's a practice. And if you practice yourself and you practice really understanding yourself, and part of that practice, if you are brutally honest with yourself, you'll know how to respond because you've done the work. And once these situations come up, you just have to do what you've practiced, right? So is there a time to react? Yeah. I don't want reacting to get this bad label. Shit, if you and I are sitting on your deck, having a beer, watching the kids play in the front on the street. Like when I was a kid, we always played in the street playing football. Yeah. And we see a car beelining down the street that's probably going to hit the kids. I don't think either one of us are going to sit there and go, what is this situation asking of me? We're going to react. So fear is a good thing if you know how to use it. And those situations are all about fear and love and knowing how to use it and when to use it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, this year is the reflection about like, is fear good or bad? I just think emotions, period, are neither, and they're all at the same. Like they just are. They're an indicator, right? Like I believe that emotions are it's short form for energy and motion. So like. What is this energy moving you to, right? Like in that example, be like, sometimes that fear is like everything just connects and you go because that's what is needed in that moment. Yeah. And then there's also other times where these emotions have been part of our entanglement here for centuries and eons. And sometimes when they show up, we're not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger anymore. Our cave isn't about to be overrun anymore. And now, because of our frontal cortex, we need to retrain some of those practices to go, okay, it's still telling us something. A fear or something is occurring. How do I want to actually respond to this? Mm-hmm. Because like you said earlier, it all comes down to practice. And I think practice is just this wildly understood and used word, right? Like practice means like, it's like you talked about love. Practice is messy. Practice is like falling on your face. Practice is, for anybody who thinks failing's bad, you're wrong.
Well, I
hope that triggered you, because you should be practicing about why that is happening. And it's okay to be in practice, and it's okay to stumble, because that's part of like that retraining part. Right. That is how you're going to imply these new reactionary pieces that serve you.
Well, you asked,
just like how you got the ones that you have right now was through practice.
If you ask 10 people on the street, practice makes, they'll tell you perfect.
Oh, God.
Wrong. Well, because we've heard it growing up our whole life.
Yep.
And our parents and the grandparents, and it's an old saying. But practice does not make perfect. Practice makes for different. Practice makes for new experiences. Practice makes for learning. That's why you practice. If it was perfect, you wouldn't need to practice it.
Yeah.
So I think we misunderstand things from a lot of what we've been taught. We've never really stopped to examine what the heck those things mean. We just accept them because that's what we were told. And, I've learned that it's time that when you talk about changing the word, fear is going to always be a part of our lives. We live in a world based on fear. That's why it works so well. But we don't understand fear because we're just taught to fear. It's just like, I don't know, some of the things we're supposed to automatically know. How to listen. Do you spend time teaching your children the difference between hearing and listening? Do we teach them proper communication skills? Or we just expect them to know because you're going to school and you're talking? So there's a lot of things that are taken for granted in our society that we're supposed to just know. So then when you grow up, people go, well, why are you like this? Well, why are you like this? Because we were all conditioned under the same way.
Yeah.
I don't spend time and energy trying to get rid of things that's that are part of our understanding of life and learning. We only want love, but we don't want fear. And you need one to know the other. You cannot have one and know that. If you're in a constant state of love, how the heck would you know you are in love? How would you? It's like a fish. Hey, how's the water? Fish gonna go, what the hell are you talking about?
Like, what the
Take the
hell's
fish out of the water. Oh, I know, I get it.
Yeah.
You cannot know light without dark. And dark isn't bad, and light isn't good. They're just two different experiences. And I found, in well into my 61st rotation around this crazy galaxy that we live in, that duality is something that we're constantly fighting, particularly these last few generations. They don't want the duality anymore. We only want love. We only want good, because life is so harsh. And with all the shit that's going on in life right now, there's still a lot of good and beauty going on. So I believe in balance, but I do believe we're in a global shift. And the transformation is an opportunity for us to live life differently, to maybe start really saying, do we appreciate and value life, and to be grateful, to have gratitude from where we come from, instead of fighting it and beating up and trying to deconstruct and decolonize, because we're acting like we can change things that have been done. The only thing you can change is your perception on your past, and to learn from it, because that's where wisdom lies. I never, ever encourage any of my clients to fear their past. I encourage them to actually stop fearing it. Look through filtered eyes of love to see the wisdom, because wisdom lives in your past. It doesn't live in the now. It doesn't live in the future. It's attached to the experiences that you've gone through. And the experiences we're going through now, they're not new. We act like they're new, but they're not. So this is why I sent you the memo this morning to wear this. Because to me, gratitude is the key. Gratitude is the foundation to abundance. And I think we talk it, but do we actually really practice it? Do we actually sit with it? Do we do it every day? People think, oh, that is, some people go, it's a hard thing to do every day and it's repetitive. Yeah, well, breathing is repetitive. I kind of like breathing.
Big fan of it.
I'm a big fan. So I don't know, man. I just speak my own nonsense.
Well, our good friend Drew from Beyond the Legacy is watching.
Drew!
That's right now. So Drew's saying there's a blessing to new perspectives or observations about you beyond the closed circle that really knows you.
Yeah. There's a man everyone should know.
Yes, definitely follow Beyond the Legacy. Drew has got he's got some wisdom in there, big definitely.
Time. I love that, man. Beyond the Legacies was on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, I think. I don't know if
and even on TikTok. So.
On TikTok, yeah. I need to really get back on that. But Drew has a lot of great insight, but it's so true what he just said. I mean, all I know is this. Up until I was 40, I lived a victim's life. And then the universe afforded me a moment where I heard a voice, which was an invitation to step inside and do that internal work. And what really was that internal work? In order to not be a victim anymore, I had to get right with my past. I had to stop feeling sorry for myself. I had to stop beating myself up. I had to learn how to love me and respect me, and what that really meant. And when I did that, Gene, my whole world changed. But the world outside didn't change. I changed inside. My universe, my world changed. And I learned how to work within this world and negotiate with her. And she kept showing me the magic. And so I'm like, oh, this does work. I'm going to keep doing that. And
that ties right to what Drew's question here is. Like, it's okay to hear the safe things we've heard before, but the real question is, are you prepared to hear the new unfiltered perspective about what someone sees in you?
Yeah. Brutal honesty, man. That's what I invite from my friends. I don't want anything else. Be downright brutally honest with me. I can take it, because I have way too much intel. I know just how strong and powerful and how tough I am, that your words of truth are not going to hurt me. And I also, if I know you, I know you're telling me these things because you do love me, and maybe I'm not seeing something. Now, I always tell people, when you give your opinion to someone, there's one or two things that will happen. They'll either accept it, in which you'll go, thank you, or they'll either say, or they either won't accept it and you say thank you either way. You're just giving advice or opinions, and that's it. And what they do with it is up to them. So I want brutal honesty from my friends. I just think if we're going to truly be friends and call each other brother and say we love each other, I don't want anything other than that. I've practiced the other before, and that's empty. But having said that, it was that practice that helped me to realize and appreciate this practice.
Well, it goes right back to your light and dark, right? Like, how are you going to know what those relationships are that fill you up, and versus the ones that, and don't get me wrong, this is not poo-pooing on having the acquaintances or the friends. There are different levels of people that are close and that you yes. bring in and respect and just have this like a bond, whatever you want to call, whatever word works for you. But there is definitely a difference between people that you would truly say, hey, you are my brother, you are my sister, and this comes in and hits so strong, and I will accept and still say thank you for your opinion, even though sometimes it can feel like, okay, you're seeing something, and it's from that place of love, versus like friends and acquaintances where it'd be like, as my grandfather would always say, opinions are like assholes, and everybody has one.
Family and friends are the worst, man. They're the worst, especially family. Nobody wants to tell each other. My sister and I have been talking about that. It's like, where's it written you're supposed to take shit from your family? Where? Because we love each other? We're supposed to be mean and vindictive and lie and cheat. Like, where's that written? So, I don't know, man. What the hell do I just live my life for me. I follow the example of the human heart. Everything I do for me first. Everything. Because the human heart only takes what it needs when it's pumping fresh blood, then it distributes the rest. And that's how I operate. Everything I do in my world is for me first, and then I put it out. But I only take what I need. That's why I live a very simple life. So for me, that works. Everyone's got to determine their own truth and what's important to them and how they want to speak or to be spoken to. I can only speak my truth. And when I speak it, I'm not trying to say this is the absolute truth and this is right. And if you don't do it, no. You don't have to believe anything that I say. You don't have to do anything that I say. When I put my head down on the pillow tonight, I'm not going to lay there and worry about does Gene think I'm smart or enlightened, or does his audience think I know what the hell I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I'm just going to speak my truth and walk as gently as I can on this planet in balance.
Yeah.
So even if someone that I just met say, hey, I just observed this about you, I will say thank you. And then it's up to me to either accept it or not accept it. No different than if my mother came and said something. So, I think everyone has to find their own rhythm. And I think part of that is, this is why, this crazy time we're living is really an invitation to step inside and go, is my house in order? Have I gotten my house in order? Am I in a good place with me and my understanding of what's going on? This is why, the pandemic and everything that's going on has got people on edge and crazy. And I go, have you accepted the invitation to really step inside? Because that's what I believe is required, because we are in transformative time. This discomfort that we're feeling is where true change can come from. It's like a snake shedding its skin. A snake only sheds its skin when it's in a state of discomfort. We are in a serious state of discomfort, and are we willing to sit in that discomfort to truly transform and create something different, and recognize that I am because you are, right? The 7 billion of us on this planet. This is the only damn home we have. We act like there's another one coming along. Maybe there is. I don't know. Listen to some of my friends talk. But as far as I know, this is the only one. And I have not met a human being yet that doesn't need food, water, and shelter. And some will tell me, yeah, there's some gurus and swamis that can live on just the sunlight. And those are rare exceptions, and that's not the norm.
Yeah.
That doesn't, because they do that doesn't mean everybody else wants to, or just because they can do it doesn't mean they should. I still like eating food, breathing air, drinking water, living in a place that's safe and comfortable. My thing is, we can do this for everyone on this planet, but we keep acting like everyone has different needs and we're all different. And we've been sold a bunch of bull. We are not different. We're the same. We want the same things. We desire the same things. How we go about it, that's a different story. So, having said all that, and I still see the good in life. How do I know? I'm talking to a really good human being that I love very much. That's good and beautiful. Good and bad, beautiful and ugly show up at the same time. And it's up to you which one you're going to give energies to. And sometimes you need to give energies to the ugly and the bad so you can appreciate the good and the beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's worthy to understand that you got to go explore there. I'm trying to remember, I was listening to something recently, but they were talking about that, that idea of, the good, the bad, the fears is like, you actually have to go visit sometimes. You have to be able to be in a position to step into it. And I think that pulls back into that practice. It's like, you got to practice going into that so that when it shows up on game day, like you're ready for it, right? Like if you're caught off guard, that's when bad shit that's when not the good shit happens in your life. So like go and visit, but do not buy a residence there. Do not like set up shop, but go do your day trip into it. Go do a moment into it. In some cases I've talked about in the past where it's okay. Like if you're going through some stuff, it's like, put it on your calendar. Be like, this is my 15-minute pity party. Like I'm gonna get right into all of it. I'm gonna give it its full attention. I'm not gonna be avoidant of it. We're going to hear it all. It's gonna suck. And then after 15 minutes, high five. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I got shit to do.
Yeah,
and you get off onto your way. Is like, I think there's that avoidance and that's a big word this year, at least for myself. It's like, what are we avoiding, and what am I avoiding, and what is on the other side of that avoidance? And it's usually something really good that's on that other side of that avoidance. And it's just like that avoidance comes up and it's just like, oh, this is hard. Be like, it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be.
That's what makes it worthwhile. When I invite your listeners and yourself and even myself, because I think I was telling you earlier, I'm going to sit down in the next couple of days and write out all the things that I'm grateful for myself, for my family, and then professionally, because that's what's going to help me understand the abundance that I want and goals and all this stuff. But how many people actually include the so-called bad and ugly stuff on their gratitude list? So that's the challenge. I'm gonna challenge when you're doing your gratitude list. When you're sitting down, and I invite people to write it out. And I'm still old fashioned, and I like pen and paper. So I'm gonna sit there and scribble and write it out. But I'm gonna include some of the so-called negative things that's going to be on my gratitude list, because one example, leaving Kelowna was negative. I didn't necessarily want to leave. Well, I think I was ready to leave Kelowna, but I love Kelowna so much. It wasn't hard. It was time. But coming back to Toronto, I had no intentions of wanting to be back in Toronto. And it's not like I hate Toronto. I love Toronto. This is home. She is my home. I wanted to go west. I wanted to go even smaller, but I had to trust. So is that bad, ugly? I don't know if it is, but it's not what I wanted. But yet, talking about avoidance, if I avoided it, I wouldn't have met these cool people that I've been meeting and all the stuff that's happening from a poetry standpoint. So, what's on the other side of avoidance? Usually the things that you want.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm just making this shit up as I go.
Isn't that the real secret of it all, though, Rawle?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, here's somebody that's got their shit together. Be like, I don't know. I've just done enough of it to try new things. That's
I'm just making this up as I go, and that's why I truly believe everyone's just doing the best they know how, and we need to cut each other some slack and stop being so damn hard and being judgmental. And yeah, we are going to judge. There's a difference between judging and being judgmental. I don't know how the hell you can live this life and not judge each other. It's how you judge, and the judgmental is a different energy. So
yes.
I just think it's time for us to really re-examine where we are. Let's hold the brakes. We'll slow down. Let's do a sanity check and see where are we right now. Where are we with ourselves first of all before you look at anyone else? How am I with myself? Am I good with myself? Do I really love and like me? Love is one thing, but do you really like you? I like me. Yeah, I do. Every day I fall more in love with myself, Gene. I like me.
Yeah.
I couldn't always say that in the past. I don't care if it sounds egotistical to other people. Like I said, I follow the example of the human heart. When it's pumping fresh blood, it feeds itself first, not second. We are taught send it all out and hope some comes back. That causes a lot of suffering, and not that suffering is a bad thing. So I just making it up as I go.
You remember from our last week when we did the open forum alum, where Licky sent out a compliment, and he called me on the receptivity, right? To complete the circle, it is giving it out, but you also have to be really open to receiving it, right? Like in Bob Berg's book, he talks about the circle in a way of going, all right, if you don't believe in receiving, let's do some breath work here. Breathe in. Oh, you can't breathe out because that's the other part of that circle. So, you could breathe out, but not breathe back in.
Yeah.
You just want one of those? Or what about your heart? You talk about the heart. Well, it contracts. No, don't let it open up, because you can only have one side of it. Everything has a completion. Our entire, it's all energy, and it all needs to have that circle component to it, right? So
just like there's light,
there has to be a start and an end.
There you go. And that's it. And I like I said, I talking about being out of the caves and having to recondition our minds. I don't know. Sometimes I think we either think we know too much, or we don't stop to swim in what we know and really absorb it and really understand it before we move on to the next. So I'm not sure. All I know is, for me, I was very fearful in life. Can I still be fearful in life? Yeah. I just have learned not to let it stop me. I've learned that fear can be a powerful tool if you really understand it. And, I love what you do. You were talking about the breath. Breathe in, but then don't breathe out. Because it's all energy, and it's all reciprocal, and it's all an infinity loop that we'll keep doing. This is why there's nothing new under the sun. We keep repeating the same experiences. The only difference is we're not that same person when it happened. Even if it happened yesterday, we're not the same person we were yesterday as we are today. So our perceptions change. So I just, for me, the simpler life is, the better. And it's actually quite simple. Life is not difficult. We just make it difficult.
No, we're extremely good at making it difficult.
Yeah, we are.
A question that's coming up for me, Rawle, that I want to ask you is what does mastery mean to you?
Mastery means what we've been talking about. Having power, control, understanding, reverence, love, like for self. Self-mastery is about that. It's about understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, understanding your power, understanding what you're in control of, and knowing how to use it when the situation calls upon it. Understanding that nothing lasts forever. Understanding that as hard as things may seem, you will get through it because you've gone through hard before. And it's the hard is what makes things worthwhile. Mastery means knowing how to really look at your past and understanding that's where wisdom lies. Mastery means knowing how to apply wisdom, because then that's true knowledge, knowing how to really use wisdom. Mastery is life. It's a perception of life, but it's your perception and how you choose to walk it. And to me, the greatest thing about mastery is, if we use these words of integrity, but are you really integral with yourself? Do you speak and do, or do you speak one way and then do differently? Do you speak and use the words against yourself? Because you should never use your words against yourself. That's mastery. Because all I do have control of is my words. Why would I use it against me? And it's not that if I know I'm a lazy person, I'm not afraid to say I'm a lazy person. That's not using it against you. But using it against you, that's going to hinder you understanding your power, your control. That's different.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I answered the question, but
it feels like it. So
I don't know. It's an interesting question. I'm still, I don't know. I don't know if I'm there yet. I just know how I used to feel compared to how I feel today. And I like how I feel today. I like the man that I am. I like when I look into the mirror, I like the reflection that I see. I like the feeling, the isby, the spirit that is not black, is not male, it's just this feeling, this spark. That's life that I feel. I like that.
Yeah.
And every day I think I get closer to it. I'm not a religious man, but my understanding of Yah, God, the universe, whatever, I say Yah. I embrace that every day, and every day I practice gratitude. I'm grateful that I live in Canada. I'm grateful for where I live. I'm grateful for where I come from. I don't like what I see today because I think we're not grateful. I think what we're doing is actually spitting on the faces of all those who came before us, all those who did the good, the bad, the ugly, and beautiful, so that we can be here today, so we can hopefully do better for our children. And we seem to somehow not want to. We want to destroy it, and I find that very insulting to the past. And I don't mean just recent past, a human past. But then again, that's not surprising, because it seems like the more intelligent that we are, or supposedly we are, with the less of history we really know. And that's a damaging thing. So, but it is where we have to be. Right? You don't make the omelet without breaking the eggs and then beating the damn eggs up.
It's very true.
Right? Everybody wants the omelet. Very few want to break the eggs and beat it.
That's just like the same thing about sausage. Just be like, you like it, you don't want to see how it's made.
Oh, that's funny. And I do love sausage, and I've seen how they're made. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh, you kill me, man. No wonder you're the enjoyment coach. This is this is one of my favorite events every year. Still, well, only 2 years, but to end the year with you like this is
it's a blessing, brother.
It is. It's good for the soul, man. It's good for the soul. You crack me up. You're a funny man. You should do stand up sometime. Just
I've heard that numerous times.
You have?
I have.
When?
Oh, well, I've never done it, but I've heard.
Oh, you've heard. Sorry, I
that
misunderstood.
people have said, like, oh, you should try that.
I misunderstood. I thought you said you had done it. I would just to do it once. I'd love to see you do it. I think you'd be hilarious.
It's always that difficulty of like, I don't know if I'm a joke. I wouldn't be a joke writer. Like, it's always in the moments where I'm just like, turn off all the little voices in the head. And it's just like, oh, here's some weird shit that's coming out of my head, and all of a sudden it's coming out of my mouth, and people are like,
yeah, but
what's that?
But write that shit down, because then you can go tell it. I mean, look at Seinfeld. Seinfeld, I don't know. His jokes are weird shit, and yet he's funny as hell. You know, Jerry is it's funny, that show. When it first came out, I couldn't stand it. I didn't want to watch it. All my buddies were like, you gotta watch it. Then I gave it a chance. Holy shit.
Brilliant.
Hilarious. And brilliant. Because it's about life.
Yep.
It's about
what we talk about, like mastery and stuff. Like, one of Jerry's like things is like, he writes new jokes every day. Every day he's a master of his craft, and still constantly creating new practicing new material. Just like how I see in you're constantly practicing and writing and still crafting and becoming a better conduit for it, right? It's like, maybe that's part of that mastery, is like stepping into it every day as that new, I'm going to butcher the metaphor. But it's like, when you step into a creek, you're always stepping into a new creek. It's never the same creek, because the water's flowing, right? So I think that's part of that mastery, is like stepping into that new creek.
Practice, man. Just practice. I write, and I think people get caught up with mastery and success, and if you're making tons of money and all that. No, that's nice, but for me, I said, I struggle with still being called a poet. I think I feel more like a philosopher than a poet, but either way, I may struggle with it, but I still accept it. I'm grateful I get to write the stuff that I do. I'm grateful that once I get these downloads, I know what to do with it. I have the intelligence and the know-how from my experience of what to do with it. I'm grateful for that, and I don't take that lightly. And so, I practice it. Like right now, in my Google's doc, I have poems to work on. I've got like 20 different pieces in there, some short, some long, that I'm going to work on. And eventually, I'll get through all of them, and then I move them over to the next project document. And I'm trying to decide, what am I going to do next? Am I going to do another book, or what am I going to do to get this out? But I am going to get it out, and maybe use my website to publish my stuff. I don't necessarily write to make money and that kind of thing, but I do want to get the word out, because why? I have this commitment to being one that contributes to uplifting our human consciousness. And I think at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do. At least, I can't speak for all. What I'm trying to do is to help uplift our human consciousness and help us to all really recognize that I am because you are. And we have the same needs and wants, but how we go about it may be differently. So how can I help you live? Not to hinder you. How can I help you to live? Not to ridicule you for how you choose to live. But also accept the negative of life and highlight that, because without the dark, how do you know light? So I don't know. I'm just making this shit up as I go, dude.
And it sounds great while you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm just making it. I'm still blown away the way you guys think and see me. I'm just a guy, just with dreads and a beard. And, I come from the corporate world. That was my university. I jumped into the business world. But man, they trained me well. I learned a lot. I made some really great connections. And then moving to Kelowna, it's like, here we are wrapping up 2021, and I'm not just wearing this to wear it. I'm in a really serious state of gratitude when I think of the year and the things that I've been able to do leading up, going into my 61st year in this galaxy. It's like, damn, I'm a kid from a small little dot on the map that got to live in New York and Washington and LA and Toronto and Kelowna, and the women I've gotten to love, and being blessed with 3 children, and the family and the mom that I have, and my sister and my friends, my tribe. Like, damn, the hell do I have to complain about?
Yeah.
What do I have to complain about? Not a damn thing. So I'm a grateful man. I feel blessed. I feel really blessed. I feel blessed. You know, Yah is great. The things that I've gotten to do, and the things that seems to be coming this way. And when I say seem, I don't take that tomorrow is guaranteed. So, but the potential that I see, that I feel, I'm excited about that. So.
There's a word, potential.
Mm-hmm. Potential and possible. I'm working on a poem about that. So.
Where do you see the intersection of those two? How do those two play together? You know, it's interesting because I looked off screen for a second, and on my other screen, I have this quote from George Bernard Shaw: "The possibilities are numerous once we decide to act and not react." And it's just like something about possibilities always just.
Well, to me, they interact because you're the lightning rod. You're the intersector of both. Possibility lies in the ether. All possibilities exist. Hasn't come about yet, but the potential is in you, and you're the igniter. You're the lightning rod that can bring forth these possibilities. So that's, to me, how they intersect. You're the potential. Possibilities exist. There's that partnership, but do you have the strength of character, the self-mastery, to allow that potential to flow, to come out?
Like if metaphor that comes up is like, we've got this potential rod within us, and it will attract the possibilities. Do you have the courage to extend? Sounds horrible coming out, to extend your rod out there and to attract possibilities.
It's nothing terrible. We have rods and we use them, damn it. Why is that terrible? Jeez.
Standing there with my rod in my hand, just attracting all the possibilities.
This is not a family show.
This is why on YouTube, this is not marked safe for kids.
Shit, without my rod, I don't have 3 kids, dude. But it's true, though. I mean, you know, that's, to me, you know, that's the intersection when you talk about possibility. I just wrote that down because that sounds like a poem for me as well. You know, the world is your oyster, right? The world is full of possibilities. So are you, but the potential lies in you. And, you know, do you have the self-motivation and the belief in self to bring that possibility to life, to get in the way of the possibility of the potential that lives? I mean, you could switch them around and say the same thing, right? And allow yourself, get out of your own self. Going back to your stuff about the brain, can you get out of your own way to allow what your true nature to shine, so that potential or that possibility can come alive? And, you know, I think that's what I do to the best of my ability. When an opportunity comes and I don't jump on it, I don't beat myself up going, oh, I screwed up. I just realized that wasn't for me. It's like a poem. I'll have thoughts of something I want to write and say, and then either too lazy, I don't have my book around. I go, oh, I'll remember it, or I'll write it tomorrow. Not once have I ever done that and written it down, because it goes away.
Yeah.
But I don't beat myself up when it goes away, because I'm grateful. I go, okay, then that thought was just for me in that moment. And if it's meant to be a poem or something else, it'll go to the person that's meant to capture it, right? So when I know there's something that needs to be captured, I'll write it down, just like I just wrote down potential and possibility. Potential being you, possibility is the world, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to extrapolate it from there and see where it goes. But, or maybe I already got a piece in my stuff to work on that might fit in. But so, it's the same way. When opportunity knocks, not every opportunity is for you. And if it's not for you, then let it go. It will go to the right person. It just wasn't meant for you. You don't have to beat yourself up and think you've done something wrong. It just wasn't for you. Same with potential and opportunity. I don't know. So, but the world is our oyster, and the world is here. And man, there's, with all the madness that's going on, Gene. Look at all the shit that we've still done. For all the bad, nasty, ugly shit we've done in the past. Look at all the good we've done. But we don't look at it that way. We don't talk about that. And that's what's getting tiresome for me.
Yeah.
So, anyway, still a good world, still a good life.
Hell yeah. Well, it's got to be, right? Because if we know the one, we also then know that the other exists.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always the other side to the coin.
Hold on.
Do we have the balls to flip the coin over? Gratitude is.
No, I just inhaled. I can't breathe out, so I'm only having one half of the experience.
What are you preparing for with 2022, Rawle?
I am preparing to speak more, to see where my poetry is going to take me. I am also preparing to hopefully clients that I'm working with to continue to work with them and take them where they would like to go, but also invite them to maybe go places that they didn't even think was possible within themselves. The biggest thing I'm preparing is to stay in the moment, to stay focused in the moment, to really appreciate and be grateful for the moment. Because all the prep work we can do and everything, I think one of the biggest things that we don't do is, one of the things when I write out my gratitude that'll lead to what I want to do in 2022, one of the things probably that will transfer from last year to this is mindfulness and being in the moment. Because to me, they're one and the same. Because it's only in the moment that I have full access of all my skills and all my tools and my abilities. So only in the moment I can truly be and practice and demonstrate self-mastery. It's the only time. So to me, that's a key one. It's key. It's like right top of the list. So I'm constantly working on knowing and really understanding the moment and understanding what that means. And my poetry helps a lot because when I'm in that flow of writing, I am in that moment and nothing else seems to matter. Right? No distractions matter. Nothing matters. I'm not even conscious that I'm breathing. I just know I'm doing it. I'm in such a flow. So it's a really cool place to be. So yeah, that's really, that. And being here for my family, hopefully getting closer to my two young ones. And my sister and I continue building the relationship that we've had and the love and then seeing what Toronto has to offer with everything that's going on. I'm sure I came back here for a reason that will start unraveling itself. So just staying open, being ready for whatever that means, and getting physically fit. I'm tired of feeling unfit. So that's a big thing for me. That's something you and I have to talk about off camera.
Oh, yeah. We'll have fun with that then.
Yeah, we will. So yeah. So I'm I look forward in balance to what's coming, but I try to stay focused because there's nothing wrong with stepping into the future, just like there's nothing wrong with stepping. So that's it. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing where you take this potential to connect to all those possibilities.
I am too. It's going to be an interesting ride, and like I said, I have no idea what's going to come. as much as I could say I have some ideas, you don't know because things can change. I just stay flexible, and I take each day as it comes. Actually, I just take each moment as it comes, and then I go from there. And yeah, so far it's been working.
Well, the one thing that stands out when you're talking about being in that moment for me, and like there's a component of that preparedness, is like you've talked about in the past about intentions, right? So how do you how could somebody be listening to this and like trying to rework their ideas around goals, being in the moment? Are they both needed? How do you pull all these together? What would, if somebody was like, I don't even know how to start, where would you guide them?
I would, like I said, start off with gratitude. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful for now? What are you grateful for that happened last year or this year that's winding up? Because that's the template for your next set of goals, right? Because those things yielded abundance. And if you're grateful, if you understand what you're grateful for, then you can ask for more. And then you can start building whatever you want. So when you think about goals, intentions, I like the word expectations. It's the same thing. But you're told not to have expectations, yet you're told to have goals. But yet most people don't know how to turn goals into something tangible, so they don't meet their goals. And it frustrates the hell out of them. But yet they keep doing it every year, just like resolutions. So I say expectations because everyone knows expectation. You're not supposed to have expectations. Bullshit. Have them. Just like goals, write down your expectations or your goals. What do you want to accomplish for yourself individually? What do you want to accomplish for your family? So your family could be you and your wife, you and your partner. So that's the foundation of your family. And then your family, if you have kids or whatever the extended family is. And then yourself professionally. What is it that you want to accomplish for yourself professionally? What are the expectations you have in those 4 camps? Write it out, and then, okay, what plans do I need to build? And your plans don't have to be detailed. It can be just bullet points, but, I want to make, I don't know, $5,000 a month, every month from just coaching. Well, what does $5,000 a month mean with regards to how many clients do you have? Do you understand what your pay rate is hourly? How are you pricing yourself? You can then from that decide, okay, this is how many clients I need, and then write it down, right? Have something tangible. So then at the end of the year, you have a matrix, you have a plan that you can then measure success at. But once you've written it down, I tell people put it up where you can see it. But I also say release it to the universe. Release it. You have your work to do, but release it. And what you're really doing is not letting go of the expectation or the goal. What you're saying is, I've done my part in regards to knowing what I want, knowing I'm worthy of it. I'm going to release it and not worry about how. I have work to do. I will continue doing my work. It will come back. It always comes back what you want. It just doesn't always come back the way you think it should be.
Or on the timeline.
Or around the timeline. And this is what drags people down. So yeah, you can have a goal and put a timeline to it, but it may not always work out that way because you're not living on this planet by yourself and you're dealing with other people that have their choice and their free will and their goals and so forth, and cannot line up. So my thing is, there's nothing wrong with being detailed that way, but know how to let it go and say, okay, I know this will come back.
Yeah.
But it may not come back the way I think. And if it comes back differently, I am good. I am going to accept. If it comes back just the way I envision it, I am good. I will accept. Either way, I will accept because I know the universe and I are in partnership. Right? This is why when I used to go into schools and talk to kids, don't just have a damn dream and then you don't know how to turn it into a goal and or turn it into an action plan so you can make it happen. Denzel talks a lot about that. Goals, dreams without goals are just dreams that are going to frustrate the hell out of you. Yeah. And this is what we're taught. We're taught not to have expectations. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. So that's that's what I'm going to do. My sister, I just told her earlier today, we're going to sit down, you and I, we're going to craft our gratitude and then our goals of what we would like to do for 2022. And that's just this what I just laid out. It's the same process I'm going to follow.
Yeah. No, I think it comes down to that intentionality with it, right? Is having it. And why I brought that up is like when you're in that moment, is like if you can look up and be like, oh yeah, that's my North Star, and continue to be reminded of it, and then get back into your moment of creating, just knowing you're taking that little step every time towards it, and with that expectation of what you can control. You know, like I think the challenge some people have is around the expectations, because we're placing expectations externally sometimes.
Yeah.
Like put the expectations on the things you can control.
Put it on what you can control, but also I said put it on what you can't control. And what I mean by that is dream big.
Yeah.
Right? Your dream should scare the hell out of you. But then release it and know it will come back. And however it shows up, look, you still have a choice. You can accept it or not accept it. I just know that I wish I could win the lottery. Right? People say, I wish I could win the lottery. They'll buy a ticket and they win $10 and they get pissed off. I go, you just asked to win the lottery. You just won, oh, it's only $10. I go, that's not what you asked for. You just asked to win the lottery.
Ooh,
so I think, about
asking.
Yeah. You can't be afraid to ask. Put it out there, but then ask. And then when if you ask, one or two things will happen. You'll either get it, which you'll say thank you, or you won't get it. You say thank you. But whoever you asked, maybe they're not the one to give it to you. But doesn't mean you shouldn't keep asking. And asking also means, are you asking yourself? Do you know how to do the work? Do you know how to get your ass out of bed to do the things you need to do?
Yeah.
Right? It's not just frivolous kumbaya, spiritual mumbo jumbo.
Well, that's the secret to the secret is like,
what's the secret?
You said it, and then you actually have to do some work towards it.
You have to crack the damn eggs to make the omelet. People just want the omelet. It doesn't work that way.
Like, well, I've got the eggs. Now what?
Have your goals. Have your expectation. Know how to set them. The biggest thing for me that I try to get across to people is, do you know how powerful you are? Your thoughts are not just thoughts. But it's not just all the thoughts that come in. The ones that you choose to give energies to and put into the world. Examine your life and look at all the things you've done to this point. You're the one creating it. You're the one that's creating it. The law of attraction doesn't start when you watch a movie or you hear the term law of attraction. You've always been practicing law of attraction. Question is, do you like what you've been attracting? If you don't like what you're attracting, you have to change how you think. You have to change how you perceive yourself. Do you love yourself to think differently, to act differently, to create new habits that are different, that's going to yield the results you want? That takes work.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have gotten to the point now, they've watched The Matrix too many damn times, right? The blue or the red pill. Both pills are the same. Both pills are saying, are you going to wake up? There's no pill. This is not a movie.
Yeah.
You are Neo and you are Mr. Anderson, all in the same breath. What do you want to do? If you like what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. But if you want different, you have to be willing to do different. 1 + 1 will always equal 2, not 3. Now, in the 7 habits, when we're looking at talking synergy from a philosophical difference, 1 + 1 can equal 3, but that's a different argument. Are you willing to do different if you want different results?
There it is.
You can't keep doing the same thing. Huh?
I said, there it is. That's the magic right there.
Yeah. If you want different, you have to be willing to do different. You have to be willing. This is why I invite people to find a coach, find someone that you trust, that you can work with, that can help you step inside and lift up under the hood like a car and get into the mechanics of it and understand, your habits and your patterns. I mean, that's what I did when I got that invitation from the universe. So otherwise, I don't think I'd be sitting here today. There's nothing wrong with finding someone that can help you to see where the things you're not seeing. because we do live together. Right? I don't live on this planet by myself. I am because you are. Right? So I think it's important. One of the best things I think anyone could do is to find someone, whether it's a therapist or a life coach or a spiritual coach or an enjoyment coach, whatever. Find someone that you can work with. If you truly want and desire something different in life, if you feel that things aren't working the way you want, it's okay to be stuck, because that's how you become unstuck. Just like everybody wants to be found, everybody's looking for something great and to be found. Well, if that's the case, then there's a value to being lost.
Yeah.
Right. So then again,
go for the wonder, be lost.
Yeah, go for the wonder, be lost, because you will eventually be found. And who's finding you? You are. Right. So I don't know. Maybe I drank too much of the wrong Kool-Aid. I don't know.
There's no Kool-Aid. It's all good Kool-Aid.
I think so.
Oh, you got to smash. You can't be. You're not going to smash the wall going, "Oh yeah," without it. So.
No, but like I said, look. As far as I know, we only get one life. I'm not going to get into any kind of esoteric, any kind of spiritual conversation about heaven and all that nonsense. All I know is you get one life. And if that's the case, then live it. And live it to the best of your ability. And just understand that everything that you have gone through has served you. It's gotten you to where you are. The question is, do you understand that? Do you understand just how powerful you are? We are powerful beings. We've been told our whole lives how insignificant we are. We live on a planet that's insignificant, and it's nothing compared to this big bad universe that we live. Bullshit. Bullshit. We are not insignificant at all. And if we are, Yar and I will have a really good conversation when I show up to the pearly gates. Nonsense. You are not.
I want to see your manager right now.
Yeah. Well, who's booking this gig? We are not insignificant. We are beautiful, beautiful sentient beings, and it's time for us to really start applying what we've learned and start valuing life and valuing yourself so you can value other people. Right? Because all I know is this is the only game in town, and I kind of like this game. Yeah. And it's not that I'm afraid to die. I know one day I will die, and I will embrace death, because death is just a doorway to the next experience. But for as long as I have breath in my lungs, I'm going to live this life to the best of my ability. And a lot of that comes from understanding where I came from and understanding the experiences that I've gone through. And I had two amazing earth angels that helped me along this passage. I have two women right now that are helping guide me as well as I step into this next adventure on the hero's journey. So yeah, I like to think I don't just talk it, I practice it as well.
I love it. I love that. Brother, this has been almost an hour and a half of just a beautiful conversation.
Well, time flies when we're talking bullshit. So.
Well, at least we can admit it. We're not too uppity on ourselves.
No, you got it. Man, we need to laugh more in this world. We're not laughing enough, and now we're trying to make comedy woke and all this nonsense we're doing. Jeez. All I know is some of the comics I grew up on today. There's no way they can say the things that they said back in the day. So.
Oh, I'm thinking Carlin. I'm thinking Pryor.
Yeah, the same guys.
Eddie Murphy in his prime. Those gentlemen.
Well, look what they're trying to do to Chappelle. So, I don't agree with everything Chappelle says, but I love his attitude. I'm not going to apologize for anything I say on the damn stage, and I'm fully agree with him.
Yeah.
So, but we have to go through this. We're the ones that created it. No one else did, so we have to go through it. We'll see how it plays out. All I know is that. Look, every day, I think I fall more in love with myself. Every day I practice gratitude. And every day I try to laugh. Right? I try to laugh. I try to move myself to tears. I'll watch, whether it's inspirational sports stories or I'll watch a romantic movie. I'm like big on romance movies right now. anything that engages the heart and makes you want to cry and feel good, man. So every day I try to do that. And I don't know. I just feel really good. I'm good. I'm good with me and I'm good with where I am.
Happy for you.
Yeah. It's a good feeling.
I hope more people can find that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I told you this earlier. You do the damn work, leave the hoping to me. It's not a
Well, in
magic.
this case, we'll share some of the hope when we put it out there.
All right,
You
I
can't
guess.
do all the fun stuff on your own. This is bullshit, Rawle.
Okay, fine. Damn it. I thought it was all about me. Well, if we're gonna wrap this up, I do want to, if it's okay with you, to share another poem with you.
Yes, let's do it.
I'm just trying to think which one do I want to share. Okay, this one came up, so I'm going to share it. I'll trust the universe. This is a poem on choice. So, actually, there's two poems.
Let's do it.
First one is called A Conversation with Choice, and the second one is The Other Side of Choice. One night, Choice came to me in a dream and asked, "What do you do?" At first, I thought, this is odd. Choice can talk. After giving my head a shake, I replied, "I speak." At that moment, that which had no form asked another question. "What do you speak of?" I replied, "I speak of you." And another question followed, "How do you speak of me?" Now, before answering, I needed to pause, gather myself, give my head a shake, and then I said, "I speak of how you are our greatest gift." And with a puzzled and somewhat curious look, Choice asked, "What do you mean?" Attempting to ease Choice's curiosity and keeping the conversation flowing, I then went on to say, "You allow for love, which can lead to my awareness. You impart wisdom, which can lead to knowing my worth. You teach me acceptance, which leads to self respect. Choice, you open my feelings while helping me understand logic and reason. You provide courage so that I might speak through my fears. And you are my invitation to integrity, for you help me form and honor my words." After digesting my answers, Choice asked, "Do others feel this way?" I stopped and thought for a second and then answered, "Some do, some do not." Choice then began to look around and, as if it was searching for something obvious, and with one final question, Choice asked, "Why don't they all think that way?" To which I simply replied, "It's their choice." How's that?
It's awesome, brother.
Here's the next one. And this one is the flip side. The other night, the devil came to me in a dream, like a serpent in a garden, to disrupt my date with the Sandman and the threat of my illusion of peace. But this merely was no accident. You see, a few nights ago, I had a conversation with Choice in the Sandman's realm. In the chaos of madness, I somehow knew the smoky, dark, gray swirl of consciousness, for it had a familiar sense to it. It moved like a belly dancer, seducing my sensibilities to venture into the depths of my abyss. I guess it's only fear that the antagonist of choice, yet the devil's practice is not fear. Anyways, I digress. As the devil hovered over me, a question came into my being. What do you do? And even though I felt petrified, I remembered that choice provided courage that I might speak through my fears. So I answered, I speak. What do you speak of? asked choice adversary. Feeling freer in notion, I responded, I speak of how you are the other side of midnight. Seeming puzzled, the nemesis of choice asked, what do you mean? I went on to say, well, the other night choice paid a visit, and I conveyed to choice how the lessons of love and respect helped me to become more compassionate. What I did not say was how the experience of envy and self-loathing and being a victim was equally as important. Again, choice's rival was perplexed. I do not understand your logic. I said, okay, think of it this way. One cannot know light without dark, up without the down. That in the beginning, Yah created the heavens and the earth, pulled the light from the dark. That means good does not show up without bad. When fear appears, so does love. I cannot know one without the other. If choice is good and beautiful, then you are the bad and the ugly. Yah and I at the midpoint of the teeter-totter where free will lives. I took a series of deep breaths to gather myself and my sanity. I could sense calm in the smoky, dark gray world of consciousness as it asked, do others think this way? And as I nodded my head and said, some do not. In a thunderous display of lightning, the devil asked, why don't they all think that way? To which I simply replied, it's their choice. So.
Powerful.
I will leave it with that. At the end of the day, it's up to you.
It's your choice.
It's your choice.
I think that's just some great words to wrap up 2021 with.
Yeah, it's been a good year.
It's been a good year. It's been a great year.
It's been a great year. You know, when the year started, I didn't think I'd be sitting in Toronto doing this show with you. But here we are. Right? Here we are. And it's good. So just going with the flow. To all your listeners and everyone, I give this man props and love for the work that he does with others, and spend time on his page every day on LinkedIn, because just like our other brother, Drew Stevens, they provide pearls of wisdom for us to all live by. So I'm continuously grateful, Gene, for inviting me to be part of your life and to be a part of your ventures, and for the opportunity to speak and to spend the last few days of 2021 with you. I'm grateful.
Well, I'm grateful for that as well, to be able to know that I have a brother in you and that we get to continue on our journey.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. And to all your listeners, enjoy the last few days of 2021. And yeah, you are the wish and you are the dream for 2022. Right? Go have an amazing year. You know, knock it on its ass, because you've got it in you. So I love you all.
All right. And with that, we're going to remember to find one thing to go knock it on its ass moving forward.
Moving forward.
All right, everybody. This has been LiveCast Conversations With, brought to you by Pealed Back. I'm Gene, the coach, and this is wrapping up episode 71 with Rawle James. Until 2022, we'll see you next Wednesday.